Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. Welcome back for another album review, Saturdays 2025. This is episode 49. It's really cutting it close, right? I don't think there's a single platform in the industry of magazines that hasn't already dropped their favorite 25 already. I don't get that luxury of prior notification listening portals, except for those fun PR companies that I deal with and the obscure PR record labels and stuff. Love those people, and those I say thank you to immensely. But now, if you haven't realized, I'm not like the other YouTube music channels. These reviews are an extension of beyondyourradio.com, where I write and link all these things. But here on the YouTube version, I might drop something a little bit more, or even have a co-host, which I don't have today. Damn, Deb Armitage Chicks Maloney. However, this weekend I'm flying solo because of life in general, right? Things happen, as some of these records talk about. And then, of course, with this, you get 3 additional albums. Again, you're in the right place for new music reviews. There's no ass kissing. It's just honest listening. No one play and it's over, as you're going to come to find out on this one for sure. We're always looking for new subscribers. And of course, I don't play by the do this, do that rules of YouTube. Sorry, but if you love music, all of it, subscribe. I'm sure you'll find a lot more here than in most. And of course, chime in if you want. I love the comments, and click the like button if you feel that way. But if you don't, it's okay too. Always tell a couple hundred friends. The year-end lists are out. I don't subscribe to their timings. That I understand why they do it when they do it. So that part makes sense. I'm only one man here in this whole thing, and I don't live in the popular culture because it can be like just orgy suck fest with very little rhyme, meaning, or comprehension of what it takes to make an excellent, engaging, interesting, or relatable record in any format or genre or personality, whether it's extreme or familiar or laid back. Now, these album review 49 here, we kind of go back and forth. We start with a Spanish artist that is truly amazing, comprehensive expressionist that seems to absorb beyond her years, headspace, and cultural captivity. I didn't want to review her record until the year's end for a reason, and here we are. Then we take on a soul that, for me, has one of the greatest hip-hop records ever made. And once put the needle down, I had hopes that this cabin in the sky was going to take me to a place I've been missing for years and years. Since we're in the soul position, I also decided to take a dive into an album that's getting list in the creds of 2025 that I had really partaken of. And it's pretty much threatening my ability to understand out of tune acceptance. Shall we see if I'm always going to be out of tune with the overall pulse of music's popularity because I refuse to listen in one direction or conform or take part in the attention orgy? Could you see me in a music industry orgy? Just don't answer that. First up, Rosalia, Lux. I'm going to start out with something that to me is extremely beautiful but obvious. Rosalia is an artist that has her ear space in the Bjorkian experimentalism of sounds of vocal, words, and the propensity for the expansion of sound right from that, where that guides everything else. But on Lux, she takes it farther from the intensity of Motomami, the art pop progressive reggae blends that she had, into an elaborate and neo mind melding vocal classical of an opera that leaves us completely mesmerized by the audio, into the captivating vocal, extreme production on here too, that continues to push envelopes on all kinds of sorting tables, pushing them right off the table and pretty much setting them ablaze in every language and note. This is one of the tremendous recordings of the year, and it's impossible not to hear it, not to get your audio away from it. Despite the language barrier, the emotional impact, the maturity, the musicality, and everything packed into 49 minutes of this extravaganza should delight anyone who is a music explorer.
Pero mi corazón nunca ha sido mío, yo siempre lo doy. Coge un trozo de mí, quédatelo pa' cuando no estés. Seré tu reliquia, soy tu reliquia. Seré tu reliquia.
By the time you get to Berghain, that string collision with the most bombastically interesting vocal of maybe all time, and I'm not kidding you, your engagement will be a culmination of terror, disbelief, and cultural shock, which should never be all in the same place, and somehow it is. And in order to accomplish such a task, Rosalia is joined by the fantastic Bjork, but then in comes Yves Tumor to lay it on an uncomfortable position that all happens in less than 3 minutes and involves Mike Tyson being sungish. Yeah. It's not even, I can't go there for you. You have to go there yourself. So I'm just going to move on. I have no idea what else I can say about it or to it. And you'll be left kind of like stunned. I don't even know how she came to the point of deciding what would follow something like this, but somehow she did. She found the perfect track, even if it has a boom Taylor Swift-like approach. Make no mistake here, Lux is a dynamo of a musical tango and war of vocal. It's a languages and a war orchestration, and it's almost mystical in production. It won't matter what you listen to this on. It will sound incredible, amazing, deep, inventive, and utterly demanding of your ear. And then there's the catch and hook, and that's with literally nearly no guitar on the record. Look it up. It's everywhere in the sound of this record. It's undeniable, and yet probably not radio friendly, which is crazy, right? There's an incredible conundrum that should blow your mind. Like Bad Bunny hosting the Super Bowl halftime show, but I have hopes that Rosalia may be included in that, considering the language connection and the populace. Not that either of them are like drawing NFL fans, besides the drip that's kind of part of the NFL now. I lost track of how many languages are on this album. I know it's nearly a dozen, but the flow of it, from captivating vocal power and emotion to the evocative instrumental choices, equal power and presentation of the production, is completely outstanding, to the in a class of like OK Computer, as well as the recently reviewed Iconoclast, which we did last week with Anna von Hossoff. World class in every sense of what it takes to make a record. Illuminance in every sense of the very definition of the album's name. I'm still being illuminated, and I have a feeling it's not going to wear off anytime soon for anyone who listens to this record. De La Soul, Cabin in the Sky. Is there a killer of mics here? Well, it's a fine question and a fine representation, as well as expectations, as this album kicks off with De La Soul intros that puts me in mind of that from 3 Feet High and Rising, and how delicious that is. There's even a person's name, Yummy, on the record, as well as Slick Rick. Okay, just listen to the intro and you'll know what I mean by the fun is knowing along with the vocal coolness of actor Giancarlo Esposito. This is the Cabin in the Sky. It's the 9th record from the super duper, call it rappa hip hop docious of De La Soul, of the mentally ill of Amityville, New York. In the posthumous recording of Trugoy the Dove +2, known simply as Dave. Of course, that's David. I think his name is Jolcure, who passed in 2023. He's actually being called out in the roll call of the beginning of the album, and he's the last name on the list. This will be, yeah, let's make that our next fair question of what this album is going to be. De La Soul has not made a true bad record, but they have certainly moved in some cases to a social commentary and beat manifestation that's migrated much farther from that incredible debut in '89. This was one of those bands, rapper, hip hoppers, you could find your place in, no matter your race, your creed, or musical aptitude. They had a pungent, fun kind of thing. They had a flippant position and a wonderful ability to be whip smart in things that might have had vulgar connotations. Hip hop, old pop that wouldn't stop was a guideline for those that came after them in sampling guys and usage. I, I, I can tell you that Eminem was using it on Marshall Mathers. So, what is it all going to be? As the last few albums had pieces that I love, but they were more of a different piece. Stakes is High, Artificial Intelligence, AOY's Bionic, which is part two, maybe, and The Grind date, 2004, which were redeemed for my ears when they came out with And the Anonymous Nobody in 2016. It's just how it is sometimes, but I still respect, follow, and that includes the members' different side projects too. Why? Well, because talent and connection of these three could bring it at any time, any moment, any turntable, or socio-lyrical satirical position. Not to mention the anxiety of what they might choose as sampling track. I get all excited, like, oh, when you put the album on, you're like, what are they going to borrow from? What are they going to take from? And on Cabin in the Sky, they got some tricks and kicks. They're using Cruel Summer, This Will Be, An Evening Love with Natalie Cole. They do Sure Shot from the Beastie Boys and More Than a Feeling from Boston. Yes, there's even the Police on here and Mort Garson, and way more layering. They're like trying to find a musical Where's Waldo in this whole connection. A Different World comes in maybe at the halfway point. Hard to recall because it's a 1 hour and 11-minute record. I'm realizing that the departure of Dave, while not felt, it's being I know that it's being appreciated, remembered, played, connected, and considering the years and years of the connectivity with the remaining bandmates, there's probably no chance that this turns to some sort of darker, played out hip hop, but it would almost be sacrilege to make it bitter, I would think, or overly obsessive. The band, still sounding, working as a trio of geniuses, will be able to continue, carry on, and bake up anything they choose as long as it's real. I mean, I'm sure they have tons and tons of material that never got used. It's real to them. The environment and the design of the betterment of a position seems to always be the goal. There are probably too many additions, influences giving this a flavor that might sway it from the overall position of the original three, considering how many people are on this record. But I just feel the feeling from the Cabin as a musical wake or a party or an extension to move to the next level. So why I have this feeling that this might be the last De La Soul record? Well, the position on this makes me think that the true trio, despite Dave in the afterlife, will continue so that he continues. The song The Silent Life of a Truth is the wake-up call as we move to the finality of this posthumous recording.
Truth just sticks to the script, giving us an earful so we can speak it from our lips. Some can't accept this as real talk, cause lies they disguise as the truth. Some walk before the truth puts on his pants to get dressed. A lie travels the whole world making a mess, and if you sat down with a truth for a day, it will tell you how lies try to block what it say. Some will bring them both into the same house, telling truth to the side piece while lying to the spouse. And the needle in the haystack is truth in the gut that traps intuition, which wakes the spouse up. The silent life of a truth. The silent life of a truth.
But it's done so de la, and that's the gift here. As DJ Premier kind of winds up being an assistant on this, it still completely feels and sounds like De La Soul from any day or yesterday. It's how they make the record more than about what it's really about. That's sort of a trick here. They use harmonies, the turntable action, and the perfect positioning of little things, including skits to have you listening and feeling, and most of it, it's in a fun environment. But NF, a song with Black Thought, had kind of wording and an old jazz horn accompaniment embodies the environment of life, and we start to fall into a place that's a far cry from where this all started. And I'm wondering if this is intentionally going to be this way toward the end of the record, because we're getting to the point of, maybe the wake being over, or that position being over, the twilight of the realization that this might not go on anymore. The ending here is it going to get harder? But it doesn't. We get redeemed. We re-understand and fall back to the palm of someone's hand, which holds the mic, holds the turntable, or something in the musical production. There's a lot going on. There's a lot within, and a lot leaving Cabin in the Sky. And if this is the send-off or the springboard, it's got a lot that will go a long, long while in the music multiverse in the name of De La Soul, as well as Dave, because, he's there always. Next up is Ryan Davis and the Roadhouse Band. New Threats from the Soul. I have no preconceived knowledge of Ryan Davis or his position or his supposed Roadhouse Band. When this album was chosen, it came from the usual arena of my mind and suckerdom that and the, right? If you don't know me by now, I'm a sucker for bands with and the. On my first listen to New Threats from the Old Soul, I was immediately reminded of M.J. Lenderman, like a Jim White, and the warmth, like elongation, maybe a Big Thief met with a Tyler Childress. But I had no idea that this record was being exalted like it is for 2025, or the fact that he has been gaining this kind of singer-songwriter praise that's getting really, really up there. That's right. This album is on most lists for 2025 that have extended larger numbers, but even on those that it comes into that, it's in the 20s. Which is remarkable. So while I was not preparing myself for a second listen and the original listening I had to get past something that was redirecting my attention. I definitely heard the music from the multi-instrumentalist that Ryan Davis is, and that position had some very goosebump Americana feel to it and delivery, but I was originally thrown by what I thought was very out-of-tune positioning of the vocal qualities as we're traversing songs that are very, very long in engagement and those requirements. That of like Dylan, all right? But Dylan's telling a story. This one requires more attention. Or was I being neglectful because of the deliberate twang, tone, vocal, and even backing vocal that was nudging my country prejudice? Well, I want you to find out with me here, and that's kind of what this is all about. 57 minutes in the indie jangle Americana inventive rock position with only 7 songs on the entire album. It tells you immediately the length of every song. I think one's even 12 minutes. That's a heavy roll of the dice. The opening title track is nearly 9 minutes, I think. I can do long songs, but I was very much afraid of what that vocal and backing vocal were doing to the melody in contrast. And that's the prejudice setting in on me for sure. But what I did was concentrate on the words. Because Mr. Davis is conjuring Bob Dylan meets Jim White with the stream of consciousness kind of sprinkled like the essence of Matthew Good. Although Matthew Good does not usually fall anywhere near Americana. So now you probably think I'm cuckoo, but rightfully so, because, hey. But when I left my prejudice and the twanging at the door, the noose around the album's neck from this release, it released, and I found exactly what everyone's been swooning about, craving, and jawing on and on about. A songwriter with a passionate country speak rap and sing songy delivery twang, yes, that's so freakishly poignant and creatively layered that it's impossible to turn your ear away. The lyrics here could be a study in everything and anything, and everything, everywhere, all at once kind of mentality. And I could drown this review in the awe and jaw-droppingness and thought-provoking position of it on every song, which is truly the feature of it all. Honestly, his lyrical cavities or political, I shouldn't say political, prolific lyrical streams that could give Miss Morissette a true and honest run for her money. The inclusions of changing glowworms, necrophilia, a W9, and one of my favorites from The Simple Joy, he muses about time being basically a guy from work. And the brilliance of the song Crass Shadows, which is parentheses at Walden Pond, where his heart sank like an informant in a lake.
Wings with Dionysian, we loosely friend. But I come down to let the truth begin. When I come down to Walden Pond on spring, I'll bring what's left of my thing. My heart sank like an informant in a lake. It left a trail of blood and dishonor with a list of aliases in its wake.
Yeah. What I would have missed if I would have discarded this vocal pitch. And the off-key background singing in the first song, which does spread a little bit through the rest of the record, but not always. No one sings the word genitals, Shiva, or blowing a kiss to an ATM better. He reminds us of people in high school that just have a knack for combining words, strange and obtuse, and making them work. They could write until the cows lay down. Yeah, I'm stealing that from him. The end result is mesmerizing in a lot of things, which is what makes this album the talk of album of the year and its best lists. There's lyrical biscuits and gravy along with Socrates and Bill and Ted, while he's also dropping in the musical Americana melodica. He's using harmonium. He's got guitar, keys, and even congas. Hell, he even gets Bonnie Prince Billy to join in from the spirit world of Americana, as well as give the Roadhouse band fantastical positions to do what they do, and that's instrumental too. Like you're getting everything that you want from there, from steel guitar, the resonator, ebo, clavinet. And there's dubbing in this, which is done so well. Just to name a few things you'll pick up as your listening continues to adjust as you keep listening to this record. I can't see you not keep listening to this record, unless you're a metalhead, maybe. Not to mention the fact that all of this comes in with including tuba, electric piano. We've got a organ player, and guest musicians build the entire landscape of music that is New Threats from the Soul. Don't listen this recording away. Don't fall short here. Mr. Davis is one of those rare songwriters with a very bent delivery of words that is beyond a first listen. He could be the next treasure that finds itself in a captive vocal box, but the meaning and the structure is able to astral project itself across the music multiverse. Bring what's left of your things for this year. Leave them at Walden Pond with Ray Davis and the Roadhouse Band and see what you might pick up instead. The three extras this week, we're going to start off with The Bug and Ghost Doves, their album Implosion. It's kind of a split record. Are you looking for extremely low bass thumping spectralism that will put Chuck D on notice? Remember, he's the guy that said, "How low can you go?" Well, this is implosive, and it will shake the foundation of your house, and it will put your car in danger if you put it to 10. I'm pretty sure you may not survive. It's not what you think, though. This is slow, soundscape-ish lusciousness. That's not what it's not only like it's like an EMP. Maybe it's provocatively interesting in where it goes, even though it moves there at a deliberate pace, and it will not draw the club scene in any way, shape, or form. This is a movie-scape. It's brooding. No fight scene, John Wickian bass kind of thing going on. I liken to the world of a forced meditational pounding by invisible spirits. The Bug, a.k.a. Kevin Martin, and Ghost Dubs, which is, I think, Michael Fiedler, have definitely created a drowning, like, immersion here that might be unlike anything you've ever heard. If you're in my age bracket, of course, and certainly if you're not in the explorative realm of music. Think Closer by 9 Inch Nails, kind of directed by Kirk Cameron, underwater as the pressure just builds to intolerability, lurking and maybe disturbing. You're not sure which, but this is the bass abyss. Not to be missed, especially when you want to test your Meghan Trainor limits of your sound system. Next up, the Salt Collective, A Brief History of Blindness. I'm not going to lie to you here. The album could not have come at a worse listening time. There's some extravagant records I've already listened to in the last 2 weeks. With these that I've already mentioned, the international indie pop power pop project known for its collaboration, it wasn't even going to get a fair shake. The indie chord structure, the supposed catchiness in this collective is in the powerful pop line, apparently, but those are fleeting moments and uniquenesses that don't match the genre niche that they're claiming. I had moments I like, but again, it's the structure, that basis that I find very disconnecting, which immediately pushes me away from any catchiness that might have happened. Yeah, I hear XTC, but I don't care.
Where do you go when you wanna hide? When you wanna hide? And can you feel the eclipse on the inside? From the inside, I'm just spending time with you in the shadow of the moon. What do you want when you're not through? The world's in love with you.
The melodic position hold that the album together, for sure. Yes, I'd have to say it. But at the same time, it's kind of like a 90s-ish to those bands that had a single maybe, but the albums never held, had their value. Even Amy Mann, who appears like multiple times on the record, which are the favorites of mine, doesn't have a deep enough position for me to truly be beguiled or pay that close attention. Although it is the best of the record, including the musicianship of Bo, of strings and heavy placement in her recording parts. I can just say it's not for me, but it might be all the rage for you, and that's fine. Finally, we're going to go to Racing Mount Pleasant. The album is called Racing Mount Pleasant. Band name wars are becoming a very real thing. This band used to be called Kingfisher. No, not that Kingfisher with the E missing. And therein lies the problem. And that's exactly why Kingfisher, with ER spelled correctly, decided to change their name to Racing Mount Pleasant. But that's a bizarre thing because this is their second record, and it's called Racing Mount Pleasant. And they have a song called Racing Mount Pleasant. So there you go. That's something different, right? They're from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Indie rock. Yes, okay. I definitely hear that. But I love the indie inclusion of the horn instruments on this. They have a very unique position and a musical expression throughout. In fact, they might be the heaviest part of the record. And maybe that's even kind of what I rave about here, almost giving it an indie chamber pop position, which is great. And it's kind of an infusion that gives the band a bigger stance.
Against your clattering teeth, and I've been waiting for hours as your eyes swoop dangerously low. Even breaths from your windpipe
Let me tell you a story, though, about my grandfather. Um, what he missed because of dictation. There were articulation is is important in anything we do, especially like what I'm doing right now. My grandfather would be able to listen to something like this. I don't chew my words. I put them out carefully. Even when I'm rolling fast, I'm sort of cautious to make sure that the words work. Racing Mount Pleasant has a very, very poor dictation, a poor projection of vocal. They get dropped, sucked up, and wimped in and out of hearing. My grandfather didn't like Benny Hill, didn't like the movie The Usual Suspects because of the projection of voice and how it hit his ear. He appreciated that because he could sing, and boy, could he sing. Although I never agree with him on Benny Hill being, not good at all, I just think he could have made out if there weren't British accents that kind of swallowed things. And of course, the musical tone was higher and louder in the mix. There are some really good melody and instrumental areas of this album in the softer side too, but combined all together, this is a miss on a lot of fronts. But the foundation of so much is there for sure, and I think that's what might keep you coming back and looking for Racing Mount Pleasant. Although there will be those people that love that indie rock sound. They are not Kingfisher. They are Racing Mount Pleasant. What did you think of these albums? Are you a fan of the bands? Did you think the De La Soul part, is this the final record for them? What did you think of Rosalia? That is a major recording feat for sure, right up there in the albums. And of course, Ryan Davis. That is an album that I'd love to hear what people think about it. I know it was a struggle for me at the first part, but boy, oh boy, oh boy, it keeps growing and finding its way to me lyrically and everything. We are on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course. Articles, videos, a podcast coming soon. All about music, albums, bands, artists, anything we can get our hands on. Go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Yes, there will be an Unknown Sunday tomorrow, but also tomorrow is the start of the top 25 albums of 2025. So join me then. Thanks for watching and happy listening.